Everyone, thank you for joining us today on our first live podcast with two very special guests. Marc Bui with Thrive Financial, powered by Arbor, right? And Glenn Stearns, our guest that's here today.
Powered by my wife.
Yeah, powered by your wife. Yeah. So, Marc, I got it wrong. Sorry, Marc. Marc with Thrive Lending Group.
Yep.
Sorry, Marc. Yeah, there you go. Powered by Arbor Financial. So, I'm excited to be here, right? We're here at our corporate office here in beautiful, I was going to say San Diego, but Santa Ana. Close, very close. And I'm excited to have you here in person.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here as well.
Yeah, and we were to pull him in today, so which is even best.
There you go.
Right?
When I saw Marc coming, I couldn't resist.
There you go. There you go.
Must have been the long hair.
Yeah. There you go. So I'm excited because, it's always fun to do these in person. Normally we do these, on camera, in different locations. So this will be a little bit different. But why don't you let those watching today learn a little bit about you. So tell us how you got into the industry. And being here, we found out you've been in this building before, right?
Yep. Yeah, I used to work in this building, as a matter of fact. I got into the industry back in '99. My uncle brought me in and didn't know what I was getting myself into. I started out selling 125 loans for those that don't know
what that is.
Exactly.
That means you're older.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, they gave me training which lasted for 4 gruesome hours. They threw me to a computer, a fax machine, and a phone. And they're like, all right, start taking calls.
Oh.
So, yeah.
It's interesting. I find it, and Glenn, you might know this too. I mean, I find it that people, I think that's something weird about our industry, that you kind of fall into it. Like, nobody gets out of college
and says, I'm going to be a mortgage loan officer.
I want to be a mortgage broker. Like, I think that's something that sticks out a lot to me. It's like your uncle, right? Mm-hmm. I fell into it because somebody referred to me as a family friend. Glenn, how'd you get into it? Like,
I came out of college, came across the country, had nothing going on in my life, sitting on a bench. What am I going to do? And thought, what do you do with an econ degree?
Yeah.
So, I'll become a mortgage broker. And that's what I did.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun. It's definitely fun industry, and has been changing a lot. We were talking about this earlier here today, but you do a really good job. I want to talk about this. We were watching a video. We couldn't stop laughing. And then behind us there is Jenny Gibbons. We got to give a shout out to Jenny Gibbons. She's behind the scenes. I'm not going to have her come out here. You're wonderful AE. But I wanted to touch on the marketing piece, because it's like we're just talking about that, because the industry has changed a lot, the guidelines, rates, all that. But something that's even changed, I think, even weekly, we see it a lot, is the marketing piece. I want to hit that first real quick, because you do a really good job about that, especially with your videos.
I'll tell you what's great, because I can't wait to hear about it. Yeah. But setting yourself apart from your competition and being different is what we always talk about. Now, how do you really do that, In the old days, I'd go out and get on the news and get people to come and do that. No one else did that, right? What you're doing, completely different than so many people, too. It's setting yourself apart. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys both. I mean, about 2.5 years ago, I started noticing everybody around me being on their phones and scrolling through social media, and like even in our household, we don't have cable TV. So I knew that a lot of eyeballs were on social media. I'm like, okay, I need to be on social media, but my problem was I was not comfortable in front of a camera. I'm more of an introvert than an extrovert. But I knew I had to be on that space. So
you were more of it.
You were.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't tell it all, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So I hired a social media coach. We planned everything out, and it kind of just morphed into what we're doing right now with like the movie parodies. But the whole goal has never changed. The goal was how do we add value to the consumer, change the way people think about real estate, about mortgages, educate the consumers so that they can make good decisions, right? When it comes to buying a property, selecting the right mortgage strategy. And I wanted to figure out a way to make it fun and creative as well too, because quite frankly, like mortgage is boring, right? So we just did a bunch of trial and error, and landed on some strategies that work really well. So we stuck to it, and we're constantly like tweaking things. So
you are. I mean, that was funny. We were laughing pretty hard right now as this started. I mean, how do you keep up with what's changing? Like how do you decide? I'm going to go with this. Is it a guideline change that happens in the industry, or are you just looking at when you talk to a consumer, they're like, "This is what worries me." Is that what you're making your videos about, or how do you come up with the content?
Yeah, great question. Yeah. So it's a combination of all of that, right? Yeah. We take the commonly asked questions from our clients, from our prospects or leads. I watch MBS Highway and Barry Habib like religiously. If there's something cool popping up on list reports, I'm grabbing that content. You guys send me something cool, I'll save that in a folder. And I've made it a habit to kind of store all of my content ideas in an email folder. And then on a Saturday or Sunday morning before the family wakes up, I'll just sit down and kind of write content, send it to my team. They help me like script everything out so that it's more digestible.
Right.
And then we plan a date where we shoot. I cram in like 4, 5, 6 videos at a time.
Get it all done at once.
Get it all done at once, ship it to them. They cut it, they edit it, they post it. So the hardest thing is coming up with the content, right? But luckily for us, we have really smart people around us in the industry as leaders, like Barry and Tim Brahim and you guys. So I'm constantly like just trying to seek out good information.
Good information.
But, what I think you do that's, I mean, to your point, we're in an industry that's pretty boring, right? I mean, it's numbers and it goes over a lot of people's heads, and it's too stressful. And so you got to find a way to, first, I think the connection is about being authentic, right? You got to, people want to trust who they're working with. And what a lot of people out there think is that this business is transactional. It's many deals that get in and out, and it's all relationship driven, right? So if we're sitting there, you're building upon people that you got to get them to trust you, because it's really, again, comes down to trust and relationships. And so watching your videos and seeing these things, you have to laugh and you go, man, that guy, he's got a sense of humor. So you begin to know about you even through these fun videos, right? You get to see, hey, he doesn't take himself that serious. Hey, I'd like to meet this guy, right? And then you can begin to grow and by the way, you gave some good information even through how you end up getting there, not just today the 10-year hit. People don't, again, when everyone asks me that stuff, I hate talking about it. I'm like, I'm the wrong guy.
Right.
Like, that's, again, you were at the Vibe event, it was not about, all that. We put Barry in there, but it was about more personal growth. Give people something they want. You give people a lot of what they want, and they come back. And I think that's why people work with people, because they work with people they like. That's what it's more about.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head. Relationships is everything. Yeah. I truly believe that we are in a relationship business. Mortgages happen to be the byproduct,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
People do business with who they like and trust. We've all have heard this stuff before. And at your Vibe, that Vibe event was fantastic. Yeah, you had amazing speakers on there like Manny, blew me away. Grant Cardone, Barry. And it wasn't, to your point, like they weren't up there talking about like the 10-year or MBSs. Everybody was sharing stories, right? How they got from here to here, the struggles, the challenges, and within the stories are nuggets that actually will motivate people and sell people, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
100%. And so that's why I think the connection I saw in how you do things is I have the exact same mentality. You don't have to say things. You got to get people to want to listen, right? And when you get their ears to open up, a lot more can happen. But when, a lot of people, fortunately, I'll say, because they're our competition, they'll go at it a very dry way, thinking. And there are some people that want to digest it that way. That's fine, and that's for them. But I think a lot of people would rather understand the relationship, get to the trust, and then, have you help them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I hope that what we talk about today will motivate like your viewers, because a lot of your viewers are in the lending industry, right?
Yep.
If there's an itch or some sort of desire to be on social or to create more videos, because that's where the market is.
It is. And then we're seeing that people that are successful are spending time with it. We spend a lot of time with our marketing team, Krish and Mackenzie, they're a big part of our success here at Kind. I think the loan officers that are, to your point, Glenn, earlier, that are setting themselves apart in a market really are concerned. It's something the rate piece affects their business, right, a bit, but they're really not concerned. They're more concerned about bringing value, right, to their consumer, to their agents, and I think that's what I'm seeing, the people that are the most successful out there. And you mentioned, borrowers asking you questions. How have you seen the borrower change, right? Like during COVID, everybody was, I need to buy a house right now. Rates were low, and then it kind of slowed down a bit. Like where have you seen the consumer change a bit? Their questions have probably changed a bit too, right? So where do you see the consumer change, even from 2 years ago to where consumer is now? Are they afraid? Or they want to buy a house? Like where do you see that?
I think the questions have been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
The fear from consumers have been pretty consistent from my viewpoint in terms of like affordability, interest rates. Are we in a housing bubble? But it's much more amplified right now.
Okay.
There's a ton of fear around the next housing bubble. There's a ton of fear around rates continuing to climb, right? And a ton of fear around affordability. So what we do is we do something that's a little bit unique. Rather than just pre-approving clients, we do pre-purchase consultations after the fact. It's an hour long. We go over what they qualify for. We talk about different loan options, talk about different strategies, do rent versus buy, and really be able to help somebody clearly see what renting would look like in 5 years, right? From a mathematical standpoint, and what home ownership would look like. And we factor in things such as tax benefits, principal reduction, appreciation, and really show them what the potential can be. So, and let them know, like, if they continue to rent, what that would look like too. And oftentimes when you map everything out for people, it's the choice of home ownership is pretty clear. Right. So it's a lot of selling through education.
I think a lot of times you get a client, they go, well, what if we're in a housing bubble, right? And that there's a lot of questions that can be had. How long do you plan on living in this home? Oh, this is going to be my lifetime. Well, then why would you care if, it's like a stock. It's not, you don't lose any money unless you sell it, right? So yes, you're going to have some fluctuations. They're going to go up, they're going to go down. But that's like anything else, any asset that fluctuates. And when they realize, you're right, I just got to write it out, then that gets rid of that question, right? But I think the housing bubble one, because I've been, unfortunately, through a few of them, is there for those that are speculators, right? And if you're not, then don't worry about it, right?
Right. And that comes with you being a good originator and asking the right questions, right? Versus saying, hey, I'm in the top 1%, or we can fund your loan in 12 hours.
Right. You know what? You said something earlier, which, talking about being a top originator, you were talking about our audience, and a lot of them are loan officers, and how they need to use social media, and they should be doing more of the same thing you're doing. That comes from a mindset of abundance, right? You get people when they start to be living in fear and living that, it's a very, what's the other word?
Scarcity.
Thank you. When you have that mindset, you live where you're in fear all the time, right? Versus having an understanding that there's enough to go around. And the more you give, the more you get. The more you help people, the more you're able to be helped, and the more life works out for you. When you feel that way, you can really grow, And a lot of people just don't understand or they do, you know, and there are a lot of successful people just, they've gotten there because they've helped other people, you know, and when that happens, you know, you call it karma, whatever you want to call it, but good things happen. You know, I could see that. Obviously, you have that same mindset.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, having the Gogiver mindset is massive, right? And just focusing on providing value to people, and to your point, like not operating from a space of fear or scarcity, but just know that, I mean, if you start with the right mindset, your day cannot be bad, right? And if you give, people, it gets reciprocated. It doesn't get reciprocated like at the month end.
Right.
You know, it might be 6 months from now or a year from now. I mean, I didn't get a lead from social media until 8 months into it. Every single week, 4 videos.
Your consistency,
4 videos.
right?
You know, it got to the point where I'm like, man, like, do I even continue this?
Right,
It's
right.
been 8 months, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then it started to slowly trickle in. Year to date, we funded about a little bit over 7.2 million directly from social media.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Those are just the leads. Those are just people who have raised their hands for financing, right? The part that I can't quantify are past real estate agents that I lost connection with during COVID. New real estate agents that have reached out wanting to learn more about social media, about what we do. And then the
Or referrals.
Exactly, referrals.
Right.
Referrals that come through that decided to go with us because they've been following my page and they're like, oh, you actually know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just think that there's a lot of benefit, and I, you know, for our originators out there that want to get into the space, why not? I mean, it's free.
Yeah.
We used to have to pay money to be on
That's
TV.
right.
I couldn't afford it.
Yeah, but you know, Glenn, you used to do commercials, right? You used to. Yeah,
No,
Telemundo, was that?
You did Telemundo.
Yeah,
I did too. That was a big one.
That was
yeah.
a big, yeah. Like,
But no,
let's
what
talk
I
about
would
that.
do
Yeah.
is, and I have pushed this to so many loan officers,
Yeah.
and they just, I don't get a lot of people that do it, and I think that I can't understand why they don't. But I would go, and if you think about television and the news, there's a producer behind the scenes looking for content. And they're trying to get a story, right? So I would pitch to the producer, hey, I've got a person, they're buying a HUD home with $100 down payment. What? Yeah, $100, it's cheaper than rent. They're gonna own it. They're gonna have the write-off, blah, blah, blah. Oh, can we do a story on that? Yeah. And I would go bring them in, and then the phone calls would go crazy. And they would say, please contact Glenn. And it would be free,
Amazing.
you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, thousands. And then I did it on Telemundo, but I would do it every week. And I would tell other people, I was not hiding it, I was on television. How do you do it? I go, I pitch it. Nobody else would do it. You know, and it was just,
Yeah.
it's to this day.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard though, right? It could be hard, like you said earlier, that you were new to it, right? But you became really good at it. Like your videos and your social media presence is awesome. So I think it's getting out of your comfort.
Well, that might be
right?
part of it. Like you
The
said in the
comfort zone.
beginning,
Yeah.
you were a little more nervous.
Yeah.
Now you don't feel it.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm telling you this. You say that doesn't sound that hard because you've been behind the camera now, and you understand.
Yeah.
And maybe that is part of it that people. But the more somebody realizes it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get out there, and I've told people, they're like, oh, I'm nervous. I'm going, well, then let's F it up, man. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Like, so what? You know,
That's true.
to have it perfect is
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah.
Like, let's make it, we'll remember it.
You remember it. Yeah, that's right.
I think there's only like a very small percentage of people who are naturally comfortable in front of a camera, right? For me, it was really hard. I mean, have you guys heard of Wow Me?
No. I haven't
Okay,
heard of
it's marketing firm that specializes in creating content video for the mortgage industry and other industries as well too.
They haven't wowed me. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that was it. Yeah, we haven't heard from him yet. Jenny getting that one down. Jenny's like, we're gonna wow them. So, yeah, tell us about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first video shoot was with them, and it was a 3 or 4 minute clip on my story.
Yeah.
It took 4.5 hours. Like these guys are like at the end of giving up, right?
Yeah.
I froze in front of a camera, like words didn't come out, I forgot what I had to say, and it was really difficult. I hated being in front of a camera, but I knew that if I don't get on social, I was gonna get left behind.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's the truth.
that fear was greater than being in front of a camera. So
yeah.
To your point, people, like they would say these 5 things, and I would forget all of them, right? To this day, by the way. So now I've just learned, just put a piece of paper right there, and just fake it. Okay, let me tell you the first 5 things, right? You're just reading it, right? But so if you don't have a great memory, okay, go ahead. There's lots of little ways to still get your point across.
Yeah.
you figured it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you figured out what worked for
you.
Exactly.
Yeah. We both of you have mentioned mindset, and I think that's so important in our industry. That I feel is growing more and more. Like you never used to really hear that until recently, or last, I feel like 4 or 5 years, it's picked up mindset, having like a plan for your day. I feel like the industry goes in waves in planning.
Right.
But like, what do you do, Marc? Like, how do you plan your day? How do you stay like disciplined, right? Because I think that's a big part of being successful, is having a daily plan, that mindset that even if you had a crappy day or whatever it is, you said that earlier, you just keep on pushing through it, but you have to have a routine. Do you have like a routine every day? Do you stick to something, or how does that work with you?
Great question. I do have a very fluid routine.
Okay.
I am up by 5:30 at the latest in the morning, and I'm with a group of guys. There's like 6 of us. We plan to meet every single morning at 5:30. From 5:30 to 6:45, we jump on a Zoom call.
Okay.
And that's kind of like our time to just knock through like the work on your business kind of tasks, right?
Okay.
If it's a project, or we're working on a website or a blog.
Are they all in the mortgage industry? Or
They're all in the mortgage industry.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's every day, Monday through Friday, or what?
Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
The Zoom session is open. If you jump on it, great. If you don't, no problem. So some days I'll do that. Some morning I'll hit the gym instead.
Yeah.
But I always try to figure out time to squeeze in at least a 15-minute meditation
Okay. Yeah.
slot, because for me, like just finding that quiet time to really reflect on what's going on, what's important, and it allows me time to just recalibrate, right?
Yeah.
So oftentimes I think about my family when I meditate.
Yeah.
So when the bond market tanks, I'm not flipping out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it just sets me up right.
Right, yeah. I find that I'm an early guy too. Sometimes, I don't know, we exchange texts at every hour, it seems like, with what's just growing so fast. But I think that's the meditation piece. I really never share that, but that's a big part of my day. It really is. Like, I find quiet time. Everyone's like, oh, why do you wake up early? I find time where it's like 10 minutes a day and you're just quiet.
Yep.
Like, it really does change your perspective throughout the day. Like, rates go up, rates go down, business goes up, business goes down. Everybody has their families and their obligations and all that. But I think the people that I've chosen to like mentor with and surround myself with, I think that's one of the biggest pieces that I've learned, is that quiet time. We've spoken about this kind of stuff too, is that quiet time is really important. Focused time, right? I mean, what do you think about that, Glenn? I know everybody has their style, right?
Yeah,
so,
no, I'm there,
Yeah.
but I don't, what I do every morning, I sit in the shower for like 20 minutes and I just sit, let it hit, and I'm just thinking the whole time. So it's meditating, but it's in the shower.
Yeah.
I'm probably wasting a lot of, everybody's going to be mad
it's
at
only
me.
2 minutes, 2 minute shower. I just
okay.
Yeah, 2
But that's where I do it, and I it's a routine I live with every day. But what I also found, like anything can be like too much of something can be bad, and what I mean is, like I don't, I like to mix it up, and we'll just back to that vibe for a second, and I hope in the industry, when we don't focus on ourselves and our confidence and things, so when you get to like with that, it was to me more about personal growth, right? And you see this happening in a lot of other sectors, but it was never happening in the mortgage arena. We were just you went to any of the conferences out there, it was the same stuff every time. And then when they'd ask me to speak, I was like I don't want to talk about the mortgage market. Like it's everybody else is talking about that. Can I talk a little bit about pain and a little bit about overcoming pain and you know, those kind of things? I like that because then people can relate to that and it's different, right? And so when when we set ourselves, our minds for maybe how can we get to the ultimate goal, which isn't about how, well, it depends where everybody is, but I think after you clear through all the smoke, it's about happiness, right? And then how do you get to a place where you are proud of your life and your life's work? And when you get there, and I think along that way, you have to build confidence. And when you get to your confidence, because I see that in you, you weren't confident, now you are. You're sitting here, you're very confident. You don't even know the camera's here, right? It's like you don't feel it. And all of that comes, and then you attract other people. And you got the balcony people that lift you up, or the basement people that are holding you down, right? And so where are you? So all those things to me are steps in the right direction towards that end of being happy and looking back on, did all right, you know? And so all that, you can call it, we do loans, we do cars, we sell, you know, I don't care what.
What you sell,
It doesn't matter. But it's about those things. And so I try to set my days with things other than just numbers and more about relationship stuff, as we talked about.
Yeah, the relationship piece is key. You said something that we say here a lot, man, and I kind of want to like kind of wind this down a little bit. But you mentioned relationships. Like people, we always talk about this all the time. Like we're in the relationship business. The loans come second, right? If you learn to trust us, we're going to earn your business, right? The next step is us doing business, and so often, you know, you recently transitioned, right? You recently transitioned from the retail space to the broker space now, right? Can you share a little bit about that transition? What led you to that? I know we talked about that a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, I've always been very intrigued with the broker space. I used to be a broker like 15 years ago, but the landscape was completely different back then. But you know, the only times where our team would lose business would be like to a big bank, a credit union, or a broker. And it was always over rate. It wasn't because Marc gave horrible advice or what have you, right? So I knew that was a challenge, especially in this market now when everybody and their mom is hyper rate sensitive. And then the second piece is just being able to, it kind of runs parallel with pricing, being able to like deliver the advice that we feel we deliver to clients, or the level of advice that we feel that we deliver to clients, and then being able to parlay that with aggressive pricing is, in my mind, the winning formula.
Right.
So I pulled the trigger and made
a move.
Made a move. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. You know, I've met the guys at Arbor. It's been about 2.5 years now. You know.
Great guys, by the way.
Great guys.
Great guys.
You know, they would never pressured me. And
that's great, man. Well, we're lucky to have you on the broker side, so thank you so much. Glenn, thank you for being on today's, you know, we saw you walking in the aisle, the hallway. Come on, man, join us real quick.
Man.
That was fun.
Thank you. It was good.
Absolutely enjoyed it. No, I've got a lot of respect for you. So
Same.
good job.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Marc, with Thrive Lending Group, powered by Arbor. So appreciate you guys watching our live edition here. Jenny, thank you for making this happen. Jenny Gibbons, our AE in the back. Appreciate you being here as well, too. So thank you all for watching. If people want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
My Instagram handle, it is the Marc Bui, MarcBui, and or you guys can go to thrivelendinggroup.com. You can find me there as well. But
we're excited.
Constantly on social.
Yeah, we're excited to partner with you. I know you've sent us some business. We're excited to keep on partnering you. If you want to learn more about Kind TPO, please go to kindtpo.com. We're really excited to keep on growing. Glenn, anything else?
Hey, keep doing it, Del. I think you're doing a great job out there with all the information you're getting people out. So keep going. And watch this guy's videos. He's got some great videos. Funnier than hell. Yeah, really funny. I love how you break up with people, man. It's the best.
I've broken up with several hot girls.
There you go.
From Hollywood.
There you go, brother. Thanks for being out here, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll
Thanks,
see
Len.
Take care.